Let me tell you something you probably don't want to hear. Every single day, with every word you tell yourself, you're shaping your destiny, for better or worse. And let's be honest, most of the time, you're not building anything. You're tearing yourself down. I'm not good enough. I'll never make it. Why do I always fail? Sound familiar? These words are like poison, slow but deadly. And the worst part? They come from within. So tell me, how much longer are you going to keep sabotaging yourself? In this video, I'm going to show you how to transform your life by changing the way you talk to yourself. And I'm not talking about cheesy affirmations. I'm talking about practical reminders and powerful principles. Say these to yourself every day, and they'll strengthen your mind and help you achieve every single one of your goals and deepest dreams. And yes, I know that sounds like a big promise, but trust me, I wouldn't make it if I couldn't deliver. Today, I'll share 11 key principles that the ancient Stoics knew and used to achieve their goals and transform their lives. And let's be real, they succeeded. That's why we're still learning from them, centuries later. Are you ready to change the way you talk to yourself and finally achieve the success you've been searching for? Let's dive in. 1. I decide how to react. They say life isn't what happens to you. It's how you react to it. Think about this. Your mind is like a blank canvas when you wake up, and every reaction you choose is a brushstroke. If those strokes are deliberate, thoughtful, and intentional, the picture you create will be something to admire. Now imagine those strokes are careless, impulsive, full of anger or fear. Random colors thrown everywhere, chaotic lines, a mess of confusion. What kind of picture are you painting then? Spoiler, it's not one you'd want to hang on a wall, let alone one that inspires peace or purpose. The key lies in how you hold the brush, in how you choose to respond to every stroke life demands of you. The other day, I heard something interesting on Dr. Rangan Chatterjee's podcast. He shared how, every morning, he tells himself, "Today I will react with more patience and empathy when faced with a challenge." And do you know why he started this practice? One day he got an email from a colleague blaming him for a mistake that wasn't his. The tone was even a little hostile. And what did Dr. Chatterjee do? He let frustration and anger take over and responded poorly. The result? More tension, more problems. From that day forward, he decided to try something different. He repeats his phrase every morning, and when a challenging situation arises, he doesn't react immediately. Instead, he gets up, drinks a glass of water, takes a deep breath, and even goes for a short walk if needed. Only then does he respond, calmly. Interestingly, he admits he doesn't always get it right, and when he fails, he doesn't beat himself up or drown in guilt. Instead, he tries again the next day, because life isn't about perfection, it's about practice. It's about learning to paint each stroke with just a little more care and mindfulness. Imagine you upload a photo you love to social media, something that showcases your effort and creativity. But then, that one follower shows up with a nasty comment, the kind that can ruin your mood on a bad day. What do? Do you lash out, delete the photo, or sink into insecurity? Here's the real test. Your reaction doesn't define the comment, it defines who you are. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Listen, this isn't just a pretty quote. It's a reminder that, while the world can be chaotic, your mind is the one place where you hold true control. The question is, are you ruling it, or letting it run wild like an unbridled horse? Let's be honest, even the Stoics had tough days. Can you imagine Marcus Aurelius dealing with Twitter trolls? He'd probably block them without responding, with the same calm he used to lead battles. Because in the end, it's not the comment that matters, it's how you choose to respond. And that, my friend, is what you need to train. So how do you do it? First, breathe. 3 deep breaths. Don't underestimate this step. It gives you time to clear your mind. Second, ask yourself, will this really matter in a week? Most of the time, the answer will be no. Finally, respond from a place of calm, not impulse. Sometimes that means not responding at all, And that's okay too. Reacting calmly doesn't just protect your peace of mind, it gives you something priceless: clarity. When you learn to master your reactions, the worst moments of your day stop being dramatic and start becoming lessons. But here's the key. To make this happen, you need to remind yourself every day that you hold the power to decide how to react. Remember this: every reaction is a choice. Every choice shapes who you are. Today, you decide. Will you paint a chaotic picture or a masterpiece? 2. Today, I'll only give my energy to what matters. Let me tell you a story. A teacher walked into a classroom carrying an empty jar, some large rocks, gravel, and sand. He placed them on the table and told his students, "I want you to fit all of this into the jar." The students got to work immediately. They poured in the sand first, then the gravel, and finally tried to squeeze in the large rocks. The result? The rocks didn't fit. They'd filled the jar with small things, leaving no room for what mattered most. The teacher stopped them and said, "Now watch." Calmly, he placed the large rocks into the jar first. Then he added the gravel, which slid into the gaps, and finally the sand, which filled every remaining space. The jar was full, and everything fit perfectly. This, he explained, is your life. The big rocks are the things that truly matter: your priorities, your values, your goals. If you don't put them in first, the small stuff will take up all the space, and you'll never have time or energy for what's important. Now, my friend, ask yourself, are you putting your big rocks first? Or are you filling your day with sand and gravel, draining your energy on things that don't matter? Let's be real. Wasting your energy on meaningless things doesn't just exhaust you. It pulls you further away from what truly matters: your goals, your relationships, your well-being. As Epictetus said, "Don't waste time on things that are beyond your control." And believe me, he was absolutely right. You spend so much time worrying about what others think, stressing over things that in the end give you nothing. How often do you feel like the day slips away while you scroll through your phone? Or doing favors for others that only steal your time? Or worse, arguing about something that won't change your life at all? Listen, every minute you waste on the insignificant is energy you'll never get back. You're probably thinking, yeah, sure, that sounds nice, but I have a million responsibilities. How am I supposed to focus only on what's important? I don't blame you for feeling this way. We've all been there, but here's the truth. It's not that you don't have enough time, it's that you're letting the urgent win over the important. And that's what we're going to change. Before you start your day, grab a piece of paper or your phone and write down 3 things that are truly important to you today. Not 4, not 5, just 3. These are your big rocks. Now, as you write them down, remind yourself of something crucial. My energy is valuable, and today I'll only dedicate it to what matters. This isn't just a cliche. It's a way to train your mind to stay focused. Ask yourself, what can I do today to move closer to my goals or make a real difference in my life? Be honest with yourself and prioritize the things that truly matter. Now comes the hard part. Ignore everything else until you've accomplished those 3 things. Yes, that includes the cat video that pops up on Instagram just as you're about to close the app. For example, if one of your big rocks is finishing an important presentation, focus on that before checking your email or folding the laundry. And as you work, keep reminding yourself, I'm choosing to give my best to what truly matters. When you start talking to yourself this way, something shifts. You no longer feel like the day controls you. You're the one in charge. And at the end of the day, you'll see that not only did you make progress, but you did it with intention and purpose. That's how you turn chaotic days into strengths that help you achieve the success you've been striving for. Before we move on, if you're finding value in this content, consider subscribing and becoming an exclusive member to unlock unique benefits. And tell us in the comments, what will you remind yourself of every day to transform your life? Let's grow together. 3. Fear won't stop me. A few years ago, I made a decision that changed my life. I had a stable job, one of those that makes you feel secure but also trapped. Then an opportunity came up, volunteering in another country. It sounded amazing, but I won't lie. Fear showed up immediately. What if it doesn't work out? What if I'm making a mistake? What if I fail? My mind was flooded with doubts and worst-case scenarios. But in the end, I made a choice. I would go, fear and all, because I realized something essential. Fear doesn't just disappear, but it doesn't have to stop you either. That leap changed my life, not because it was easy, but because it proved I could face what scared me. Seneca said it best. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. And he was absolutely right. Think about it. How many times have you played out an entire movie in your head about something that never even happened? For example, your boss sends you a message. We need to talk. Instantly, your fear kicks in. Am I getting fired? What did I do wrong? You spend the whole day stressed out, only to find out they just wanted your input on a project. And then there's the classic dentist scenario. You know you need to go, but your imagination has already painted a horror movie. Pain, discomfort, a terrible experience. So you procrastinate, avoid the appointment. And in the end, the problem gets worse than it ever needed to be. A study by Dr. David Barlow found that over 90% of the things we fear never happen. 90%. When I read that, I thought, we're wasting so much time, energy, and peace of mind on fears that are pure fiction. Can you imagine living like this every day? Believe me, fear can be a prison, but you hold the key to set yourself free. Let's be clear. Facing fear doesn't mean you won't feel it. It means acknowledging it, talking to yourself with strength, and moving forward despite it. Think of it like standing at the edge of a cold swimming pool. Looking at the water is intimidating. It seems freezing, and every second you hesitate, the jump feels harder. But the moment you dive in, you realize it's not as bad as you imagined. And more than that, you start swimming. That's exactly how fear works. It always looks bigger from the outside. Here's what you can do the next time you feel fear. Make a list of, what's the worst that could happen? Write it all down. You'll often find that what you're afraid of isn't as massive as it seems. Then, repeat this mantra every day. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Because yes, fear will always be there, but that doesn't mean it has to stop you. It's just a passenger in the car. You're still the one driving. When you talk to yourself with confidence, when you remind yourself that fear won't stop you, something changes. Your mind aligns with your actions, and those moments that once seemed impossible become the ones that strengthen you the most. Because in the end, every time you face a fear, you're not just conquering it, you're conquering yourself. 4. Every problem is my teacher. Imagine going to the gym. At first, it's uncomfortable. You ache, you sweat, and in the moment you're thinking, why am I putting myself through this? But then something amazing happens. You come out stronger. Problems work the same way. Every challenge, every obstacle is like lifting weights for your mind. Sure, it's not fun in the moment, but trust me, when it's over you realize that problem didn't weaken you, it helped you grow. It's like the story of a merchant crossing the desert with his caravan. Everything seemed fine until a sandstorm hit, knocking them completely off course. Water was running low, and each step felt harder than the last. His mind was in chaos. This is a disaster. I'll never make it out. Why did this have to happen to me? Every time he told himself these things, fear paralyzed him even more. He was ready to give up. But then he stopped and changed the way he spoke to himself. Instead of repeating that everything was lost, he started talking to himself calmly. I can find a way out. One more step. Just one more step. And with that mindset, he kept moving forward. Was he still scared? Yes. But he kept going. Hours later, under the blazing sun, he found a well. Finally, water, he thought. But when he checked, there wasn't a drop. Instead, there was an old chest buried in the sand. For a moment, his negative thoughts came flooding back. See? Everything is against me. There's no solution. But then he remembered what he had learned. He couldn't control the storm, but he could control how he responded to it. He decided to open the chest, and to his surprise, it was full of gold coins. What at first seemed like his greatest defeat turned out to be the opportunity of a lifetime. And why? Because he changed how he spoke to himself. Instead of drowning in negativity, he chose to tell himself he could keep going, that there was a way out. That's how problems become teachers. Not because they're easy, but because they force you to rewrite your internal narrative and find solutions where none seem to exist. Listen, the problem isn't the problem itself. The problem is how you see it. It's like wearing glasses that only let you see the dark side of the situation. Do you think Marcus Aurelius, leading an empire, only had easy days? I don't think so. But he wrote something that still inspires us today. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. What did he mean? That a problem isn't a wall, it's a tool. Next time you face a problem, pause for a moment. If you catch yourself thinking things like, "I can't handle this," or "This always happens to me," change it immediately. Instead, say to yourself, "This is hard, but I can deal with it." Or something as simple as, "What can I learn from this?" Trust me, shifting your internal dialogue won't make the problem disappear, but it will help you face it with more clarity and strength. Talking to yourself this way isn't denial, it's empowerment. It's reminding yourself that while you can't control everything, you can control how you choose to react. Try it the next time you feel stuck. Say something that pushes you forward, not something that holds you back. Because the words you use with yourself determine whether you stay stagnant or keep moving. My friend, we all have problems. That's the truth. But do you know what will set you apart? The way you talk to yourself when those problems arise. If you choose to say, "I can handle this," instead of, "There's no way out," you'll create the strength to overcome them. And trust me, that strength is already inside you. You just have to wake it up. 5. I'm grateful for what I have now. Let me ask you something. If tomorrow you woke up with only the things you were grateful for today, what would you have left? Think about it carefully. Your health? Your family? Your home? It's strange how much time we spend thinking about what we lack, forgetting to appreciate what we already have. But shifting your perspective can completely change how you approach life. Picture this. A sudden catastrophe strikes. It could be a fire, a flood, or any disaster that wipes away everything material. In an instant, you lose things you once thought were essential. Sounds terrifying, doesn't it? Of course. But after the initial shock, you realize you're still here. You have your health, your loved ones, and the strength to get back up and start over. That's the essence of gratitude, realizing that even in the darkest moments, there's always something to be thankful for. Epictetus said it centuries ago, and it remains a powerful lesson. It's not the things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Yes, you can focus on what you've lost, but you can also choose to see what you still have. And what you have, even if it's not perfect, will always be greater than you imagine if you choose to see it that way. Do you know the effect of talking to yourself with gratitude? It trains your mind to focus on what you have rather than what you're missing. This shift in your internal dialogue doesn't just bring clarity, it gives you strength. Each time you choose to say, "I'm grateful for what I have now," you're building a mindset that brings you closer to the success you want. Because when you focus on the positive, you find opportunities even in the toughest moments. And that is the key to achieving your goals. Let me suggest something. Start keeping a gratitude journal. It's simple. You don't need anything fancy, just a notebook or even your phone. Every night before bed, write down 3 things you're grateful for. What could they be? A cup of coffee, the sound of the ocean, anything. Why do this? Because, as expert Annalie, a life coach, explains, this daily practice not only shifts your thinking, but it also trains your mind to focus on the positive. Remember what we talked about earlier, about problems? Now think about this. How often, in the middle of a bad day, have you stopped to appreciate what you still have? Probably not very often, right? But try it. Instead of repeating to yourself, "Everything is going wrong," ask, "What can I be grateful for right now?" It could be as simple as having your health or as deep as learning a valuable lesson. Changing what you say to yourself won't make your problems disappear, but it will help you face them from a new perspective. And trust me, when you focus on what you have, problems lose their grip on you. My friend, here's a challenge for you. For 1 week, write down 3 things you're grateful for each night. At the end of the week, read through them all. You'll see that even on the hardest days, there's always something worth appreciating. This isn't just a wellness exercise. It's a mindset shift that transforms how you see your life. And when you've done it, come back and tell us in the comments how it went. We want to hear what you discovered, how you felt, and if this small change helped you see your days from a fresh perspective. Because your experience might just inspire someone else. 6. My courage defines me. In 2013, Diana Niad, a swimmer over 60 years old, set out to cross the more than 100 miles between Cuba and Florida. No shark cage, facing powerful currents, venomous jellyfish, and extreme physical exhaustion. But here's the thing, it wasn't her first attempt. It was her 5th. Yes, 5th. What happened in the others? She failed. Do you think she let that define her, or allowed failure to defeat her? Not at all, my friend. She never told herself, I can't do it. Instead, she kept repeating, one more stroke, just one more stroke. And after swimming for more than 50 hours non-stop, she made it. Diana Niad didn't just cross an ocean, she crossed her own limits. And as she swam, she wasn't just testing her body, she was testing her mind and resilience. Because it's in those moments, when everything seems impossible, that we discover what we're truly made of. As Seneca said, it is in difficult times that the soul is tested. And I can't think of a clearer example than hers. Why is this so important? Because tough times come for all of us. The difference isn't in avoiding them, but in how you choose to face them. Listen closely. There's something you need to understand. It's not fear that defines you, but what you do with it. When you speak to yourself with strength, when you choose to say, I can handle this, you're training your mind to be stronger than any challenge. Courage isn't like a disposable cup, something you use once and throw away. It's more like a sturdy bottle you carry everywhere. No matter how many times you use it, it's always there, ready to help you face whatever comes your way. Courage is something you build and recharge constantly because every day brings new challenges that demand bravery. Think about it. Something as simple as saying no when someone asks you to do something you don't want to do, or facing the fear of voicing your opinion at a family gathering, even if it might make things uncomfortable. These are the moments where courage defines you. What you say to yourself in these instances matters. If you tell yourself, this is too much for me, you give up. But if you repeat, I have the courage to do this, everything changes. Now imagine this. You're having a difficult conversation with someone close to you. Maybe they've hurt you, and you've been avoiding telling them how you feel because you're scared of confrontation. What would a good Stoic do? Do you think they'd keep avoiding it to stay comfortable? Absolutely not. They'd carry courage like a banner. So, how can you start practicing courage every day? Promise me you'll follow these steps to achieve everything you set out to do. First, every morning repeat to yourself, I'm stronger than I think. This isn't just a mantra, it's a reminder to start the day with strength. Second, every time you face a tough decision, think, this will make me stronger. What will this do? It will rewrite your mental narrative because you're building courage. Finally, at the end of the day, reflect on a moment when you were brave, no matter how small. Say something like, today I was courageous and tomorrow I'll be even braver. In the end, courage isn't found in grand achievements. It's built in the small daily decisions. It's not about being perfect, it's about moving forward. Speak to yourself with strength because every word you say shapes the courage you need to face any challenge. Today, repeat it with me. My courage defines me. 7. My values guide my steps. Have you ever walked down a dark path with just a flashlight? Without that light, it's easy to get lost, stumble, or take the wrong turn. Your values are like that flashlight. Without them, you're moving blindly. But when you know what's important to you, when your principles are clear, every step you take has direction, even in the toughest moments. The other day, a friend shared something that kept her awake for nights. She works in an office, and her boss offered her a promotion. More money, more recognition, everything anyone could want. But there was a catch. Her boss asked her to cover up a mistake the company had made to secure an important deal. Basically, to lie. "It's just a small omission," her boss said. Nothing major. But to her, it wasn't so simple. She told me, "On one hand, I thought about everything that promotion could mean for me. It could solve so many problems in my life. But on the other hand, I felt like I'd be betraying something crucial, my integrity. How could I look at myself in the mirror knowing I got this by lying?" In the end, she chose to tell the truth. She risked everything, and as she expected, she didn't get the promotion. But you know what? She told me something I'll never forget. "I slept peacefully that night. I don't have the title, but I have my peace, and that's worth more than any promotion." Now, let me ask you, my friend, what would you have done in her place? Be honest, not just with me, but with yourself. Think about how you'd feel afterward. Because listen, values aren't just abstract ideas. They're the foundation on which you build your entire life. If you betray your values once, it becomes easier to do it again. But if you defend them, every decision reinforces who you truly are. Marcus Aurelius put it best. Stop debating what it means to be a good man. Be one. This wasn't just a pretty phrase. Marcus Aurelius lived by his values. In times of war, he didn't act out of vengeance or ego, but with justice and restraint. Why? Because he understood that while you can't control what happens outside, you can control how you act inside. This isn't just Stoic philosophy. It's something we all need in today's complex world. Because now, with endless distractions and external pressures, staying true to your values is an act of courage. Let me give you a scenario. You've planned dinner with your best friend on Friday night, but that same day, someone you're interested in invites you out. What do? Cancel dinner with your friend to impress someone else? Or honor your word and stick to your commitment? Relax, this isn't a test. There's no right or wrong answer. But what you choose will reflect your values. And here's the thing, your actions, more than your words, always reveal them. If you're not clear on your values, there's a practical exercise from the book The Self-Confidence Workbook by Barb Markway and Celia Ampel. Ask yourself, what do I want people to say about me when I'm not around? Write down 3 words or phrases that reflect how you'd like to be remembered. For example, trustworthy, fair, compassionate. Once you have these words, use them as a map. Every time you make a decision, ask yourself, does this align with my values? And here's the most important part. Your values matter even when no one else knows. Think about those moments when you could take a shortcut because no one's watching. If you tell yourself it doesn't matter, no one will notice, you start to betray your principles. But if instead you say, my values guide my steps, even when I'm alone, you build integrity that doesn't rely on anyone else's approval. Remember, your values are your compass. When you speak to yourself with clarity and align with what truly matters to you, every step you take brings you closer to the life you want. Today, say it with me. My values guide my steps, and let your actions reflect those words. 8. With what I have, I'll do wonders. Let's be clear. Life doesn't always give you everything you want, but here's the real question. Are you going to sit around waiting for more, or are you going to use what you already have to create something amazing? Think of it this way. Life is like cooking with limited ingredients. You don't always get a gourmet menu, but with creativity, patience, and the right mindset, you can turn the basics into a feast. Don't believe me? Let me show you how. Let me tell you about a young entrepreneur, Ben Francis, the founder of Gymshark. Do you know how he started? He didn't have millionaire investors or giant factories. He had a sewing machine in his home, a lot of passion, and one clear goal: to build something big with what he had. He spent nights designing gym clothes and days shipping orders himself. Little by little, without making excuses or waiting for the perfect moment, Gymshark became one of the biggest sportswear brands in the world. Can you imagine if he had thought, "I don't have enough, I'll just wait"? Spoiler, he wouldn't have gotten anywhere. And what about Epictetus? What if he had waited to have it all? If he had thought, "When I'm free, then I'll teach, then I'll leave my legacy," we might never have heard of him. But he didn't. He lived in slavery, without privileges, without resources, and still found a way to do wonders with what he had. He taught, inspired, and left a legacy that continues to change lives today. Why? Because he understood something fundamental. It's not circumstances that limit you, but how you choose to face them. And he was right. It's not about what you have, it's about how you decide to use it. In a world full of excuses, this lesson couldn't be more relevant. So how do you apply this to your own life? There's a powerful concept you can use. Do the best you can with what you have. You don't need to wait for more time, more money, or more resources. Start now with what you already have. For example, if you want to learn something new, you don't need the most expensive course. Right now, you have access to books, videos, and free resources. What you need is to decide to begin. And here's something crucial: how you talk to yourself. If you start each day saying, "With what I have, I'll make it happen," you'll train your mind to focus on solutions, not problems. Talking to yourself this way doesn't just motivate you, it drives you to act. Because in the end, everything starts with what you tell yourself. My friend, here's another challenge for you. Take a moment right now and make a list of the tools you already have. It could be anything: your skills, your network, even your determination. Then think about how you can use them to move toward that dream you have in mind. And when you do, share with us in the comments how you're going to use what you have to achieve your own success. Are you up for it? Remember this: you don't need more to start. What you have right now is enough. What matters is what you do with it. Say it with me. With what I have, I'll do wonders. Because what you define with your words becomes the foundation for your actions. And your actions are what will lead you to the success you're striving for. 9. I accept what I can't change and move forward. Let me ask you something, and I want an honest answer. How many times have you been stuck on something you can't change? You know, replaying it over and over, thinking about how unfair it is or how it should be different. Believe me, we've all been there. But do you know what happens when you do that? You become a prisoner of your own mind, and the worst part, while you're stuck, life keeps moving forward without you. I won't lie, accepting what you can't change isn't easy. In fact, it's one of the hardest things to do. Don't we all love the feeling of being in control? And what happens when we're not? Yeah, it's tough. But let me tell you something. You have to accept and move on. And no, don't confuse acceptance with giving up. So, what is it? It's about freeing up the energy you're wasting on something out of your control and using it to move forward. Do you know what happens when you choose to accept what you can't change? You transform your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius knew this well. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. But this isn't just ancient philosophy. Psychologist Tara Brach explains it too. She says acceptance doesn't mean agreeing with a situation. It means choosing not to fight the inevitable. Interesting, isn't it? It's like both of them, separated by centuries, are reminding us of the same truth. Letting go of the uncontrollable gives you the clarity and calm you need to move forward. Now, imagine this scenario. You've decided to start a personal project, something that means a lot to you. Maybe it's starting your own business, changing careers, or pursuing a lifelong dream. You're excited, full of ideas, but there's a problem. Your mother doesn't understand. She says things like, "Why don't you try something safer?" Or, "That won't get you anywhere." You try to explain, to change her mind, to win her support, but no matter how hard you try, her opinion stays the same. Of course, it affects you. You start doubting yourself, wondering if she's right. But here's the key: you can't change how she thinks, and you don't need her approval to move forward. What you can do is accept that her mindset isn't going to change, at least not right now, and use that energy to prove to her and yourself that you can do it. Because it's not about convincing others, it's about trusting yourself and what you're capable of achieving. So when you find yourself in a tough situation, ask yourself, does this depend on me? If the answer is no, choose to let it go. Want a simple way to make it easier? Do something physical to symbolize it. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and exhale, letting go of that weight with every breath. It's a small gesture, but it works. In the end, my friend, accepting what you can't change doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're choosing to move forward. Talk to yourself like someone who understands this truth. Remind yourself, I can't control everything, but I can control how I act. Because that's where your true power lies. Moving forward isn't easy, but with every step, you get closer to the life you're searching for. 10. I will be patient with myself and others. Honk, honk! The car behind you won't stop blaring its horn. You smack the steering wheel in frustration, bam, bam, while staring at the red light that feels frozen in time. In your head, a relentless monologue plays. Why didn't I leave earlier? This always happens, I'm going to be late. With every passing second, you feel the tension building, ready to explode. Sound familiar? It's in moments like these that you realize how easy it is to lose patience and how hard it is to stay calm. But tell me, what are you achieving with that inner dialogue? Spoiler: nothing, except making your day worse. Patience isn't just about waiting. It's about learning to calm your mind while you wait. And it's not just about traffic. Being patient with yourself is key, not just for handling external situations, but for navigating your own journey. Think of the farmer who decided to plant bamboo. Every day he watered it and tended to the soil with dedication, but weeks and months went by without a single sign of growth. Meanwhile, other farmers planted crops that sprouted quickly, and he began to wonder, this isn't working. But he never stopped caring for the bamboo. 5 years passed without a single shoot. Then suddenly, in a matter of weeks, the bamboo grew over 60 feet tall. What had been happening all that time? Its roots had been growing deep underground, preparing to support something extraordinary. That's patience, my friend. Seneca once said, patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. And I can't help but think of that farmer and his bamboo. The fruits of his patience were sweeter than he ever imagined. It's the same with you. Sometimes it feels like nothing is moving forward. You work, you try, you wait, and nothing. But listen, just like Seneca said, that initial bitterness is part of the process. If you persist and speak to yourself with patience, the results will be better than you ever expected. But what happens when you lose patience with yourself every time something doesn't go perfectly? Hate to break it to you, but you're sabotaging yourself. On the other hand, if you choose to speak to yourself with calmness and say, it's okay, I'm learning, you'll be building a solid foundation for all the success you want to achieve. Patience isn't just enduring. It's giving yourself the space to grow and move forward without giving up. Let me ask you something. How many dreams have been left behind simply because someone lacked the patience to keep going? Don't you think it's time to change that and start talking to yourself in a way that propels you forward instead of holding you back? First, practice what I call the moment of 5. Before reacting with impatience, count to 5 and reframe your thoughts. Instead of saying, this is unbearable, say, I have control over how I respond. It sounds simple, but that pause makes all the difference. Second, talk to yourself like a friend. When something doesn't go well, instead of saying, I'm such a mess, say, it didn't go perfectly today, but I'm learning. Believe me, that shift in your words creates space to move forward with less pressure and more calm. Despite what many believe, patience isn't something you either have or don't have. It's something you practice every day, with yourself and with others. And like bamboo, what looks like stillness on the surface is actually deep, meaningful growth. Today, speak to yourself with the same care you'd give to a plant you want to see bloom. I will be patient because the best things always take time. That's the mindset that will carry you far. And do you want to know how to close the circle of patience and progress? With one simple but transformative idea. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep moving forward. Stay with me for one more moment, and I'll reveal the final powerful phrase that might just be the key to everything you want to achieve. 11. Today, I strive to be better, not perfect. Do you know what perfection really is? A mirage, something that seems within reach, but the closer you get, the more it slips away. Life isn't about being perfect. It's like sharpening a pencil. It'll never be flawlessly perfect, but every time you sharpen it, it becomes more precise, more useful. That's how you should see yourself, not as someone who needs to be perfect, but as someone who can improve a little every day. Perfection isn't just a myth, it's a trap. Listen to this. Psychologist Jordan Peterson compares chasing perfection to pursuing the horizon. It's always farther than you think, and as you run after it, you miss what really matters: progress. Peterson emphasizes something simple but powerful. Don't try to be perfect, just focus on being a little better than yesterday. Think about it. What's more effective? Beating yourself up for not reaching an impossible standard, or making consistent progress each day? Perfection doesn't just exhaust you, it paralyzes you. Here's the truth. If you do something to improve each day, no matter how small, you're already winning. Did you know the Stoics viewed life as a work in constant progress? Seneca put it this way: as long as you live, keep learning how to live. They didn't aim to build a perfect masterpiece in a single day. Instead, they laid one brick at a time, improving little by little. That's what really matters. Not how you compare to others or how much further you have to go, but how much you've grown compared to yesterday. Now imagine this. You've just finished an important project you poured your heart into, but instead of feeling satisfied, you tell yourself, "It's not good enough, I could have done better." That inner voice, the one that's never satisfied, doesn't help you. In fact, it holds you back. Instead of moving forward, you're stuck in an endless, impossible pursuit. Listen, you don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. Speaking to yourself with kindness is what will keep you growing. My friend, here's a simple routine for you. Every morning, look in the mirror and tell yourself, "Today I'm going to be better than I was yesterday." Not perfect, just a little better. Then, at the end of the day, reflect, what did I learn today that I can apply tomorrow? This small habit doesn't just keep you focused, it reinforces your growth mindset. Because life isn't about reaching an ideal destination, it's about making progress every single day. And remember, no one gets far by punishing themselves for not being perfect. True strength lies in accepting yourself as you are now, while working to become better. When you stop chasing perfection, you start finding real success. I invite you to embrace the power of the words you tell yourself every day. Let each phrase become a tool to build the life you want and overcome the challenges you face. Remember, what you say to yourself isn't just a thought, it's potential action. It's where change begins, strength grows, and your greatest achievements take root. If you've made it this far, write in the comments, "My words are my strength." That way, I'll know who the true Stoic warriors are who made it to the end. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give this video a like so you don't miss out on what's coming next. I also invite you to check out our playlist, which you'll see on the screen. It's packed with ideas, stories, and advice to help you navigate life with more wisdom and confidence. Click it, and let's keep moving forward together. Until next time, take care and keep embracing your inner Stoic.